And we are live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to InvestQ Live. Tonight, we're breaking down one of the more interesting market days we've had in quite some time. We got a few interesting data points for you. So, the S&P 500, for example, first off, we are seeing here, according to the headlines, that the S&P 500 rises to record at the start of June, and the Nasdaq was green as well on the day. And sorry guys, I just realized you can't see my screen. But there we go. So yeah, the Nasdaq was green on the day and the S&P 500 rises to the record start as of June. And taking a quick look at the FinViz heat map, you're seeing technology had one great day today. It had a hell of a day. There's lots of green. There's many other sectors on the FinViz heat map showing red, but technology today, especially in the semiconductor space, except for a few individual stocks, were mostly green today. And a few other things we're going to be talking about. For example, take a look over at the individual stocks with Big Bear AI. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? No biggie. Love the name, man. So taking a few looks at some things, Big Bear AI, it held above $5, which is very interesting because not only did it hold above the $5 level, it also is continuing to show buying activity, and we're continuing this momentum to the upside. As well as CTM, a stock that is covered a lot on this channel, Castellum CTM right here, continues to have another green day. We did close above 87 cents, and we approximately closed just under 88 cents. Basically, 88 cents is where we closed today. And a few other things that we're going to be covering in today's live stream is going to be talking a little bit about oil and also just taking a quick look at the treasury yields, the bonds. You see that the US 10-year, it's down at the moment, but during market hours, it was rising, and the 10-year treasury yield was rising, and it says due to Iran reportedly stopping communications with the United States. So with all that being said, everything that we're going to be breaking down is going to be, we're going to do a quick little overall analysis of the market, of the broader market. We're going to be taking a look at Big Bear AI, CTM and SEALSQ, what it is I'm going to be watching this week, and I'm also going to get some of your questions live. So let's get into it, guys. And a few things to point out is I was looking at the market today, and I did realize something. A lot of investors spend all day watching the red and the green candles. But what do we talk about on this channel all the time? We don't get too caught up with the price action, especially because a lot of my content revolves around long-term investing and being able to hold and sit still through all the volatility in companies we believe are long-term winners. And I do know that swing trading and day trading has its place, but the way that many people in the market, specifically with retail investors, they don't handle it properly, because when they see a stock that they like, for example, like Big Bear AI, and they get in and they see and the reason that they got in, most of the time it is poor reasons, such as it's just hyped on the media, but a lot of people will buy in and they do have a good thesis on what they believe the price, and they have a good thesis on reasons why they believe that eventually it's going to be a winner and the share price is going to shoot to the upside. But even though they have that plan in place, their emotions are not in check, and if they see volatile swings to the downside, they panic, they sell out, and they don't stick to the plan, and they're treating their position, their long-term position, as if it's a day trade or a swing trade, stopping out due to nothing else other than a technical price level at that moment. So the investors, they never stop to ask why the market is moving. They just see the market moving and react. And I want to know, have you guys ever noticed how the news explains everything after it happens? Like, for example, you see the market rallying, right? And suddenly everyone has a reason, but then when the market falls, suddenly everyone has another reason to sell out. The point is this: smart investors, they don't chase the headlines, but they watch their behavior and they act accordingly. They check their behavior, and they only look and simplify at, is the thesis of my long-term investment still valid, or am I looking to sell out because over a long enough time frame, the thesis has shown time and time again that it's being disproved and the business is failing. That's what the smart investors do long term. And again, a few more key points without going on too much of a rant. Again, the S&P 500 did hit new records. So check this out, guys. The SPX right here, it went up to the highs at 7,617. It did reach the highs. And in the after hour session at the moment, it is showing right now that I believe it said it's down right now. Oh no, it's still up on the day, and it's still up over during after market hours. But just pointing out that the big indexes, the the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, and the Dow Jones, they're all up. And when we look at the small caps themselves, they are lagging just a little bit because overall, I'm sorry. The small caps, they were not lagging today. So what we're seeing is more of a risk on type of day. And I actually haven't paid too much attention to quantum, just out of curiosity. Let me check. I know LAES did have a good day, but D-Wave had a negative day. It had a loss of 3% on the day. I know, just so you see SEALSQ, they also had, whoopsie. Let me see, LAES. What in the world? Why is it doing that? LAES, SEALSQ. Let me check. Okay, yeah, SEALSQ, they also had a green day today. They had a gain of 2% on the day. And then you got IonQ. Let's see here. They also had a loss. So I guess in my personal portfolio, a lot of the smaller caps did do good. But let's take a look also at the risk on to see more if it's risk on, risk off. Let me see. So let's take a look at the quick FinViz. So yeah, you're seeing healthcare is very red on the day. Energy is green on the day though. Let's see. So utilities is red. Real estate is red. Industrials is red. Let's see what else. Consumer defensive is red. Basic materials is mostly red. So it is looking still more like it's more of a risk on type of day. Again, technology, semiconductors very green. Software infrastructure very green. Computer hardware is very green. Yeah, a lot of these things are looking pretty green on the day. So it is appearing to be more of a risk on type of day. And the things that stood out as me and you both are taking a look at the FinViz heat map, you are seeing that, again, what stands out the most is the technology, the AI, semiconductors themselves, software is looking good, large cap growth. And honestly, this continues to be one of the strongest themes in 2026 at the moment. We continue seeing institutions having their capital flow, they're flowing, their money is being flowing into AI and all the risk on technology types of sectors. So that continues to be the theme on the day. And NVIDIA, one headline that caught my attention, let's see if we can find it. It's relating to NVIDIA as well. Let me see here. So it's basically talking about how, let's see. Yeah, right here. So NVIDIA announced its RTX Spark chip debuting in laptops from Microsoft, Dell, and HP. And this shows that NVIDIA is continuing to expand beyond traditional AI servers and data centers. So that's another plus for the whole AI narrative and for semiconductors. And they continue pushing deeper into consumer and enterprise ecosystems. And another interesting thing is you do see here energy, specifically oil and gas, they were running pretty well. Let's take a look at the technical chart. So yeah, Exxon, yeah, they had a green day today, a slight green day, up just almost at 3%. And then you got other ones like Chevron. Sorry, I forget what the ticker symbol for Chevron is sometimes. I think it's CVX. Yeah, CVX. Yeah, so, yeah, and they also had a green day as well. So oil and gas were having more of a green day. And one reason for that was along with treasury yields moving higher. Don't forget about treasury yields because I did show you the report right here that it showed on the CNBC headline. When you go into the bond section, you're going to be seeing that the 10-year treasury yield rises after Iran reportedly stops communication with the U.S. So whenever geopolitical tensions rise, That's when markets begin pricing in uncertainty, and uncertainty can impact things like energy, defense, inflation expectations, interest rates, and this is something I'm definitely watching this week specifically. And today the treasury yield was up, currently down after market hours, but if I remember correctly, I remember it was up around 4.47% on the day, and or no, it was up. I think it was up roughly. Here, let's take a look at the chart real quick. I know we were up on the day because I remember looking at it's the after hour session, so it's gonna be different than it was during market hours. Sorry guys, my computer's lagging a little bit, but nevertheless, oh, here we go. So yeah, we were up on the day, and this was, oh, let me see. So 601. Yeah, so I know we were green on the day. I think we were roughly 0.03 points. It was up 0.03, but still, nevertheless, right now we are down after hours, but they were rising today per the headline that was shown by CNBC. Now, going into the things that my audience I know is more interested in, let's talk about the individual stocks. So BBAI, shout out to Prophecy, and shout out to Claude giving a bullish 1-year projections for Big Bear with a price target of $5.96 year to date. A few days ago, everyone was just asking about the stock Big Bear AI because we did see something very interesting. For the first time after 3 months, we finally managed to get a... Oh, I was confused because I was looking at the CVX chart. I thought this was Big Bear. That's more like it. So after 3 months of a lot of pain and a lot of suffering that shareholders of Big Bear AI had to endure, people were very excited to see the surge that they had recently up above $5 and currently holding strong, closing the day at $5.34. Yeah, $5.34. Now, the stock trading at this price level, and again, we're up more than 5%, just under 6% on the day. But the conversation has been changing for the stock because the question is no longer because, well, first off, a lot of people, they ask questions specifically, is it going to go to $5? Is it going to go to $6? So when it comes from that very shallow type of question, and I'm not saying it's a problem to ask that question, can we get there? I'm just saying you got to do a little bit more deeper research and care a little more than just the price action itself. But the conversation from that level of just price action, it's not just can it get to $5? Can it get to $5? The question is what happens after $5? Are we going to have a even bigger breakout in the stock, or are we going to pull back down somewhere, around previous levels of resistance, which act as support, maybe somewhere in the middle of this bullish breakout candle, all the way down to this level of support, give or take. That's at $4.37, give or take. So that's what a lot of people are questioning from a price action perspective. But if you do own Big Bear AI, don't make the mistake of becoming emotional just because of one green day. I can only imagine the amount of FOMO, emotionally driven buyers that got in after they saw this bullish naked candlestick chart that was I think it represented a 20% gain on the day, which was on the 28th. Was that Thursday or Friday? Yeah, that was last Thursday. So I can only imagine how many people got in just because they saw that crazy price action. But the crowd, it's always getting excited for just the move that happened on the candlestick chart. But the investors are focusing on whether the momentum can actually sustain itself. Are we going to get that breakout to this level of sideways choppy price action? Maybe we can get up all the way back up to the $7 range. Who knows? Maybe we'll see ourselves all the way back up to the previous highs before we've crashed after numerous quarterly reports that did disappoint. Only time will truly tell to where Big Bear AI is going to go from here. Because again, nobody has a magic genie. Nobody has a magic ball that tells you where a stock is specifically going to go. But what I can say is this, and not just from an emotional perspective, but I will say that they are doing themselves to position themselves, and they did have recent good catalysts, and the macroeconomics of the broader market have been looking pretty good. You've seen a lot more risk on behavior lately, especially today. There was a lot more risk on behavior. Defense overall, though, I know that Big Bear is a defense stock, but if I'm not mistaken, defense as a whole, I think it did lag a little bit. Let me just double check. Yeah, aerospace and defense did lag, but that doesn't necessarily, individual stocks themselves can have a different trend compared to the rest of the companies in that market, in that sector. What I'm trying to get at though is, even though defense sector had its own day, it had a lagging day. First off, lately we've been seeing a lot more risk on behavior, and Big Bear AI, due to its speculation and the fact that it's not a widely established name compared to something like, well, I don't even want to say NVIDIA, because NVIDIA is in the semiconductor space, and that has to do with AI and growth. So it's not something safe, like something in utilities or whatever. But nevertheless, all I'm trying to get at, it's a risk on asset. There's been more risk on behavior. A lot more people have been investing into risk on assets, and Big Bear AI is one of them. So that has been helping. And there has been good news for Big Bear AI recently. Per the previous video that I showed, shout out to that video. And it was a very good video. Thank you all for the support and tuning into that one. But on May 20th, let's check it out real quick. On May 20th, and again, we don't have to do a whole deep dive on what the news article meant. I already talked about that in the previous video. But it's just good to see people react positively when they see positive news for the stock. And from a more emotional perspective, I just want to say that there have been more well-established investors, such as Peter Lynch, for example. He says the key to making money in the market is to not get scared out of stocks, and the stocks that you believe in and goes along with your thesis. And as Warren Buffett has said numerous times, the stock market is a device that transfers money from the impatient to the patient. And price gets attention, but holding assets through volatility is what builds wealth over time. As long as it's a company that has real market usage, it's showing some signs of improvements in their financials, and you want to also invest in the companies that are going along with the future, that are innovative. You want to hop on to a company that is involved with artificial intelligence, defense, which is heavily funded with the government. When you get involved, when you take those metrics and you use that mindset and you use those key points as kind of like like a general outline on how you approach investing, that is where you get those types of portfolios that grow in value in, as much as 200% on year to date, 300% year to date, 400% year to date, and stays consistent through as the years go on. Now, moving on to Castellum CTM, a stock that's covered numerous amounts of times in my channel. CTM continues showing resilience, and honestly, that's what long-term shareholders wanted to see after the volatility surrounding the uplisting and previous pullbacks. And there was recent news that actually came out today. I'm not going to go too in depth with that. I won't be making a video relating to the article that came out today, but let me just pull it up for you. So here, be on the lookout for this video either tomorrow or Wednesday, but don't worry, I'll be getting that down for you. Oh, let me check it. So yeah, and shout out to the equity group, as we do know they're going to be making improvements to the website. Oh, hold on. Let's see here. Yeah, news. There we go. So yeah, there was a. I think I'll have to look at my Gmail for it, but there was a report that came out, and I will be breaking it down for you in a future upcoming video, so be on the lookout for that tomorrow or Wednesday. But nevertheless, back to the price action of Castellum CTM. What long-term shareholders have been wanting to see is bullish momentum to the upside, mainly because they know for a fact that this company continues to prove its financials quarter over quarter and year over year. Some of the data points that they state has to do with revenue increasing, their backlog, they have no debt, all those good key points for Castellum CTM. Seeing this type of price action gives them real confidence in the stock, especially because when this was happening, when we were rising as much as 20% on the day, and then we finished the week strong all the way around the highs, people loved seeing the bullish momentum to the upside because there was no organic news, there was no PR, there was nothing crazy that happened. It wasn't a crazy quarterly. There wasn't something about a $200 million contract. There wasn't something about, I don't know, just back-to-back contracts, or maybe they had another deal, they got another partnership, they completed an acquisition. None of those news articles came out yet. But the fact that they still managed to have the share price go up as much as they did shows that there's organic interest from institutions believing in the value of this company to buy in at these low prices in the 70-cent to 80-cent levels. So what I'm going to be watching for Castellum CTM in the coming future, I want to see for more contracts being announced. Check to see if that revenue continues to grow the way that it has been. Check to see if they complete that accredited acquisition they believe they can within an 8 to 12 month period. I want to see progress towards management growth targets and if institutional interest continues to increase for the company. Now, what I believe is that excitement, it builds stocks, but execution is what builds the company and continues to, the execution itself is what's going to be more healthy long-term and is what's going to really attract the big buying institutions, the big whale buys from institutions. If they execute on the plan that they say, this stock is going to continue to the upside and the momentum will continue. Will it continue right now up into tomorrow? It could, but seeing that execution, completing that acquisition, getting to $100 million in revenue per year, that type of execution is what's going to set Castellum CTM apart from all the other micro cap and small cap stocks, and eventually in the long run get it to those price levels that analysts have stated in the $2 range, the $3 range, or even more. Now, the last main stock that we're going to be covering is none other than COSQ, ticker symbol LAES. Now, I think the market is slowly recognizing COSQ is becoming more than just another quantum stock, because the story includes not just a pure quantum play, but you got angles such as semiconductors, cybersecurity, post-quantum encryption, AI infrastructure, and defense technology. That's a much larger narrative than simply quantum computing. And don't forget, institutions and retail love to see whenever PR is out for a stock. So I made a video talking about this, but they had three press releases last year, and there were some pretty good press releases. Check out the video that the two videos I made last week where we go in depth about that. But that's one of them, the NIST certification. So the let me see here. Yeah, the NIST certification, the municipality of Mercia as the location for a semiconductor, and how it deepens strategic commitment to EuroQ. And again, this was all within a 4-day period. So the crowd sees the ticker, for the crowd, and by the crowd I'm talking about not the mainstream media, but the overall sentiment of retail investors, and I guess institutions as well too. The crowd sees the ticker itself, but the market is what's going to see the business, and the smart money are going to be looking and really analyzing to see, is this company angling itself to separate itself from all the quantum companies, and can they execute and continue to have positive forward-looking guidances, especially the way they did ending the fiscal year of 2025 for the second half of that year. And the big vision is the bigger vision that you need to think about is the longer it takes the market to understand, or what's the proper way to say it? It's like the bigger vision and the real story behind a company, the real story behind the stock, and the stuff that really matters, and all the little intricate details about what makes a stock a long-term winner, with growing revenue, increasing the financials continuing to improve quarter over quarter and year over year, getting deals, making partnerships, all those things that we see. Real smart money Real smart money is what's paying attention to that and not just the price action of a stock or what the mainstream media is saying. And to answer your question, no biggie, I go live almost, so I go live on average 3 to 4 days a week. I go live Monday through Thursday. Typically, I'll go live at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's where I'm at in Florida. But there are some days where I don't go live. But you will always see a little premiere stating when it is I'm going live. But I'm on average live Monday through Thursday at 6:30 p.m. EST. So thank you for asking the question. Now, the stock of the day for me was Big Bear AI. I did like seeing them hold above the $5 level. They had another strong day. The momentum is continuing to return. The key level has been reclaimed. And the question that people now need to ask is, can this level hold? And the bull versus the bear case for the stock is, the bull case that people consider is the AI spending, the opportunities with government, momentum returning, and the technical breakout potential. And the bear case for the stock, the people that are more pessimistic when it comes to Big Bear AI and don't believe the long-term story, is the volatility, as we know this is a very volatile stock, execution risk, profitability concerns, and it still is a small cap company. So the risks associated with small cap stocks are still there. So what I'm going to be watching tomorrow, a few key points I'm going to be watching. No problem, no biggie. So the things I'm going to be watching tomorrow, are we going to hold above the $5 level for Big Bear AI? How is the strength of CTM, and are we going to continue and hopefully sooner than later get back to $1 per share? How is the momentum for SEALSQ going to be looking? Our treasury is going to keep rising, which is going to hypothetically hurt small cap stocks, and where people have to be more concerned with the day-to-day operations when it comes to spending, borrowing, all those things that makes it harder for small cap companies to grow. Again, it's all hypothetical because there's been many times we've seen treasury yields rise and small cap stocks have green days as well. So it's all just hypothetical. What are oil prices going to look with XOM and Chevron? The AI sector leadership and semiconductors and technology, what is that going to look like tomorrow? And the defense sector movement, is it going to come alive tomorrow? Because again, we did have somewhat of a lagging day for the sector of defense as a whole. Now, anybody that has requests, please feel free to comment below what it is you want to see in future upcoming videos. You can let me know simple things like what it is you're buying, what stocks are you avoiding. Do you think Big Bear AI can continue higher above $5? Is CTM being overlooked? Because in my opinion, the people that I know in my communities, they're not overlooking it, but there's many people that have not even heard about Castellum CTM. Do you think Big Bear AI is going to continue to the upside? Anything that you guys want to look, let me know in the comment section below. And feel free to hit the like and subscribe button if you do enjoy the content. And I love giving the content that you guys want to see. So with that being said, guys, David-InvestQ out. Stay safe. Keep making good decisions with your long-term portfolios. Control your emotions. And I'll see you all in the next video.